This is Emerson Hall. I'm recording a deck profile for my South Portland, Maine, first place finish. I played Traptrix, and I finished first place. Really, really cool. Let's begin. 3 Traptrix Mantis. This Traptrix monster is really nice. It adds a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand on normal summon, and quick effect, target a back row you control to bounce into your hand. This is going to be really nice to set up a Holity that you have in hand off of Sarah setting a normal trap that was not Holity, as well as just being able to dodge removals such as Harvey's Feather Duster. Back in tier format, this also allowed a sort of FTK versus tier limits, where you just negate their monster with 4 different Gravedigger's Trap Holes, totaling 8,000 damage over the course of the thing. Next up, we have 3 Traptrix Morelio. This is another extremely powerful card. All the Traptrix monsters in the main deck are automated by whole normal traps, and when this one's normal summoned, you can add a whole normal trap from your deck to your hand. And when it's special summoned as a mandatory effect, you pop a back row your opponent controls. This is really nice to trigger Sarah when you otherwise can't, or even just to pop a back row. This is not a once per turn effect. You can trigger this 7 times if you'd like. Really important card. You're usually adding Holity off of it in order to get extension. 3 Putika. This one adds the Trap Garden Field spell, which we'll go into later. Large defense, as well as the ability to, on special summon, banish a special summon monster your opponent controls. Then they will special summon a monster from their banished pile during the standby phase. This can allow you to set up a lot of good combos with your whole normal traps, as well as give them a special summon monster for if you're playing Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. 2 Traptrix Dianea. This is the Traptrix monster that can reborn another Traptrix monster on normal summon, as well as reset the whole normal traps from your grave. She's also the largest main deck Traptrix monster that I am playing. Technically, Atrax is larger, however, I'm not playing her. Really good card. You can reborn any Traptrix monster that can go to defense, so anything the Xyz. If you need ping to search something, you can reborn ping, use the field spell to banish Dianea, reborn Putika banish something, ping attach. And now you have material to search. Next, you have 2 Traptrix Arachnocappa. This one is the Traptrix monster that is probably the most commonly played extender post-structure deck of the main deck Traptrix monsters. She has 2 effects. The first one is a summoning condition. You can special summon her from your hand during the main phase while you control a Traptrix monster as a quick effect. The second one makes your back row indestructible once from back row hate. This is really nice to play around stuff like Duster. A lot of the times in the tournament you'd see me may end on ping to search Arachnocappa in order to protect the 4 or 5 back row I've set, rather than going for something like a Redoer or a Traptrix Rafflesia. Really effective effect. The main drawback being it locks you into plants and insects from your extra deck, so you can't make Redoer or Zeus during the same turn you've used Arachnocappa. Next, you have the 1 Traptrix Vesiculo. Vesiculo is the other extender, probably the least well known of them, just because she was very unpopular during the time that Traptrix was being played at everyone's locals. You can send a set trap you control. This can be a judgment if you'd like, to special summon her. And if you control no cards in your spell trap card zone, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a whole normal trap in your graveyard set to your field. That's a once per turn per Vesiculo. You can't use both effects of Vesiculo each turn. You have to choose one and stick with it. If you special summoner, you can't set the same turn. That would be too strong, of course. That's why Traptrix is saw so much play during Worlds format, despite it being completely unhit and Ptolemaeus being in the game. Next, we have 3 Shade Brigandine, as well as the 3 Traptrix Holity. These are functionally the same card for the purposes of extension. They're a monster that special summon themselves as from the trap card position. This means they trigger Sarah, with Holity requiring a discard and Shade requiring you to have no traps in your graveyard. That's usually fine for Shade Brigandine going first, as well as allowing you to play cards like Shifter, which Shade Brigandine doesn't require discard, and therefore can be used more safely into Shifter. Additionally, Shade Brigandine will always trigger Sarah's effective set as long as it successfully special summons another of itself, as well as not losing to Veiler or Imperm the same way Parallel Exceed does. I personally do not like Parallel Exceed, because if you draw 2 of them, it does not do anything, as well as this format being dominated by Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, and the like, meaning that making Exceeds isn't actually the best option for a lot of the time. And as such, things like Holity and Shade Brigandine conflicting doesn't really matter as much. Holity also has the additional effect of banishing itself from the graveyard to trigger a Traptrix monster you control, or in your graveyard, and reborning it. That's also a once per turn per Holity with the summon effect, meaning you can only use one of the effects per turn. However, usually that doesn't matter, as you're either reborning or summoning it. So, for example, if you summon Holity during your turn, you have the Holity engraved to banish. 1 Traptrix Garden. This is the field spell Putica Searches. This gives you an extra normal summon for your Traptrix monsters, and a lot of them have normal summon effects, which makes it really, really powerful. You can summon a monster, link 1, make Sarah, summon another guy, trigger Sarah's effective set, usually Holity, and now you have the ability to Holity. The first time each plant or insect monster you control that would be destroyed by battle each turn is not destroyed. That's fine. It's fine protection for the deck. The deck already has protection from card effect destruction via Rafflesia. Giving Rafflesia a bit of protection as well isn't bad. And the banish monster you control, this includes Nib tokens, this includes Kaijus, to reborn a Traptrix monster or a special one from hand. Really, really good effect. That allows a lot of extension, a lot of triggering Myrmelio 16 times per turn, that sort of thing. Next we have the holes, 2 Floodgate Trap Hole. This is a Book of Moon, permanently. This will FTK your opponent if they're on any runic variant that is not exactly Runic Fur Hire, as they will no longer be able to use their extra monster zone if they summon a Hugin. 1 Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. This is just special summon negate. If they special summon a monster and activate a monster, special summon monster's effect that was special summoned this turn, destroy their monster. Remember again that Putica special summons the monster, so they will play into that. 1 Gravedigger's Trap Hole. This is the second best hole outside of Floodgate Trap Hole, and it used to be a 2 of. However, in this format, there are not enough hand, graveyard, or banished effects for my liking in order for me to play it. Instead, there's a lot of monsters that don't like to be removed, and therefore Floodgate's at 2 rather than Gravedigger. In formats like, for example, Tier Limit format, this card is a godsend, and it burns for a lot. If your opponent activates Hero Lives while you have 2 of these, they're probably dead on the spot. Next we have the best card in the game, Pot of Prosperity. This card's broken. I don't know why it's still legal. 3 Dimension Shifter. I've had a lot of questions about how this interacts with the deck. It interacts very nicely. I have not had a game where I didn't like to shifter the opponent unless they were making me go first and they were on Purrely, in which case just don't shifter them. This card did come up at the regional, shiftering Unchained or getting Tribute summoned over Traptrix Rafflesia in order to push lethal. Very funny. 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This is it's a hand trap. I was playing Droll in the slot, but Droll just was not good enough. Droll did not always beat Purrely in the same way I wanted, and it didn't do anything to Unchained, and it didn't do enough to Rogue matchups. So I decided to play Ash for this event, and it came up a lot. And 3 Infinite Impermanence. Oh, how can you use Imperm when you're playing Shade? Just use Shade as a manual trigger dog. The Imperm's a good card, Shade's a good card. You can use Shade as a manual trigger if you'd like, otherwise you can just use this to help you board break alongside Evenly Matched, because Evenly Matched is the best board breaking trap in the game. That's all for the main deck. Evenly Matched can also be discarded for the effect of Holity if you really wanted to. Next, we'll go to the extra deck. 3 Traptrix Sarah. This is by far the best extra deck monster you play. This is everything the deck does. Everything the deck does is meant to make Sarah early and often. If a normal trap is activated, you can special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you control. And if other Traptrix monster effects activated, you can set a whole normal trap from deck. This means that if you use Shade Breeding, for example, to summon Traptrix Murmelio, Murmelio's effect will trigger, mandatory, and then Sarah will trigger again to set a whole normal trap. This is the obvious choke in the deck. A lot of people will Ash this, a lot of people will Valor this. You need to play around that as best you can. Rafflesia will help you play around it. She's small, and I think this is actually the best way to make a Link 1. A Link 1 that is small, packed with effects that are not by themselves broken, and is a target. Balinx is not a target, it's just a free guy. Sarah is, if you Ash this, my turn might end. Really important card for the deck. I run 3 rather than 2 because I want to make it early and often, as well as I want the ability to banish it off of anything really, off of Garden or off of linking her away. 1 Traptrix Adipus. This is the new quote-unquote boss monster of the deck. Really good arrows for what you want. She can act as an extender or a starter, or at least like for link lines. Once return, you can target facing cards your opponent controls with the number of plants and insects monsters you control, negate the effects, and then you can banish a trap from your graveyard to destroy one of them. And gives all your Traptrix monsters 1,000 attack while you have a normal trap in your graveyard. Oh, did I mention that all of the Traptrix monsters, if they're link summoned, or if they have Xyz material, depending on which type they are immune to all trap effects. That means if you set up a board of Traptrix Sarah and Traptrix Rafflesia and they flip Skill Drain will not affect them until Rafflesia runs out of material. Speaking of Traptrix Rafflesia, we have Traptrix Rafflesia. This is the 2500 defense copy a hole from deck monster. This was used in, like, I think Pepe for a bit. But it's a really, really powerful card. You're often making this if you have, if you're insect locked or plant locked, as well as if you're relying on Sarah staying up. I didn't make her too much this tournament, just because there were so many books running around that didn't feel worth it. Traptrix Alamiris. This is a monster that you used for OTK lines usually, or you used to use if you wanted to make Calaria after popping a back row using Murmelio. Detach 2 materials from the cards, plus summon a level 4 insect or plant from your graveyard. This is not technically specifying Traptrix monsters, which is nice, but you're always summoning a Traptrix monster. And the reason you can make it with 2+ level 4 monsters is because if an opponent's monster leaves the field because of a card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, for example, if they got banished by Putika, you can detach a material on this card, special summon that one of those monsters. This is an extremely powerful card for both removing a threat and making sure they don't get to special summon it during the next standby phase. Really nice card to have. Came up a lot. Came up even to get material into the graveyard. Came up so much. Traptrix Pingicula, this is one of the new ones. While it has material, it's unaffected by trap effects and the activated effects of monsters with the same type as the card's material. If it has a Fiend or a Cybers, it's unaffected by Fiends and or Cybers. You can attach a material from this card to add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand, and if a monster owned by your opponent is sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you can attach one of those monsters and materials. That's incredible. If you activate Branded Fusion against me, I am taking your Albaz. You are not getting your Albaz. Really nice to be able to search either Arachnid Kampa or follow up like a Pingicula, or Putika or Diana. Came up all the time, and in fact, she was often my end board with nothing else, just so I could search Kampa to protect like 4 or 5 back row. Next we have Time Thief Reader. This is an honorary member of the Traptrix because if you use a trap card for him, he gets the ability to top deck an opponent's face-up card, as well as steal opponents' cards from the top of their deck during every standby phase. And if they take a spell, you get to draw one. If you take a monster, you get to banish himself, and the aforementioned trap effect to top deck an opponent's monster. It's a really, really important card for the deck. Next we have number 41, Baguska. This card didn't come up. It was Prosperity Fodder. That's what this was. I wish it was Dweller. Next we have one of the cool packages. The Artifact Durandal's Stellar Knight Ptolemaeus package. This did not come up at the tournament. However, the threat of it was extremely important. I would often banish Durandal without banishing these two, just to threaten a 4-material Zeus whenever I'd like, because you can use Constellar Diamond to rank up over Ptolemaeus during the main phase 2, just like a Downard, and then you can just make Zeus. Alternatively, Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond is a very good card against Branded or the Branded Chimera deck, because while Stellar Diamond has materials, your opponent cannot send monsters from deck or cards from deck to grave, and any card they add from deck to hand is banished instead. It's also a non-once per turn, non-once per chain dark monster effect negate activation. Ptolemaeus can, of course, attach to Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond during the end phase, and then after using 2 materials to make it, now has 3. Use 3 materials, rank up into Artifact Durandal, which can function as either a negate for a normal trap by changing it to a normal trap, spell, or monster effect on field, to change it to pop one of your back row instead. Works really well with Kampa for that reason. Or you can shuffle your both players' hands into the deck if they have one to draw cards the same as that. Usually, what I would do is play Droll with this and attempt to go for a hand loop off of adding a card, off of like reinforcements to the army or the like. Very important package. I think it is the best package you can do, as it is simultaneously a 4-material Zeus, a really good generic negate tool / floodgate, and really powerful card, really good card for negating like talents or thrust or something, if you don't have anything else. Zeus, of course, everybody knows what this card does. Wipe the field, yada yada yada. Os the Earth Charmer, this stole Fenrir's all day. It was so nice. And Underworld Goddess. Generally in Traptrix, you want to have at least 1 rank 4 for either OTK purposes, or in the case of Underworld Goddess, generic removal. This was really nice for outing stuff like the Unchained Soul, or Soul of the Unchained, or whatever the name is, the 3000 attack guy. It was just a really nice card to have. I would not have taken her out if I had a second chance to build the deck. Finally, the side deck. These are the more generic cards. 1 Gravedigger's Trap Hole and 3 Droll and Lockbird. The Droll and Lockbird is Droll and Lockbird, it's for the format, and the Gravedigger's Trap Hole is because I still think there are decks where you want 2 Gravedigger's Trap Hole, including Unchained, which I did run into. Next you have the Going First side cards. 3-Dimensional Barrier, 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This one came up, the other one didn't. The Going Second cards, 1 Duster, 2 Godarla and a Gamciel, and 1 Dino Wrestler Pangatops. The Kaijus were godsends, Anti-Spell was great, Duster didn't come up, and yeah, that's it. Thank you. Sorry this was a bit long. Addendum at the end. Thank you to the New Hampshire Yu-Gi-Oh scene for putting up with my bullshit at locals, and thank you for Weekend at Anime and Games for hosting the regional in South Portland, and thank you for the Traptrix Discord for just also putting up for my bullshit. That's it. Thank you.